Welcome to Prophetic Wind. Let God speak up just. God wants to speak today. Welcome to Prophetic Wind. Let God speak it. He will lead and guide you. He will lead and guide you. Today's your day. Today's your time.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Nabi about Yehuda, bringing you intimate truth. It's the truth that you embrace that makes you free. I am so glad that I am on this particular episode tonight. I'm glad to be here. You should, you're going to be glad that you're here too. And if you're watching this on a replay, welcome. Sorry you missed it live. However, the information will still be there for you. I'm really excited because joining us again in the studio is Don the ICEMAN Daniels. And one of the things that he's going to be talking about is all these little secrets that these financing companies about your mortgage and the credit cards, they do not want you to know how they take your money out of your pocket and how you just willingly sign it over. Well, we're going to be talking about some of that and how to find a better way to have debt elimination. All right, so with that said, we are going to step in to say hi to Mr. Daniel. Hey, Don.
Hey, Dr. Nabia, how are you?
I'm divine. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
All right. So glad to have you back again. So we're going to be talking about a better way for debt cancellation. Listen, I know that you know there's a myriad of ways in which to do things. There's more than one way to skin a cat, but
Yes.
there's always a better way, a better
hmm
way. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was, first of all, I want you to give a little bit of background. Like, how did you start on this journey? What did you see that went bad, bad, bad? Red alert. Red alert. Something's wrong here.
Yes. Well, I found out that I have autism spectrum disorder. So when I look at an amortization schedule, I started to see pictures and patterns that most people do not see.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to debt elimination or handling your debt, most people are distracted by the wrong things. They look at their interest rate, they look at their payments, they look at how much they borrow, they look at the how long they borrow it. But what they don't look at is the math that creates the interest.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the interest that causes the problem. You see, if all of debt
Mm-hmm.
were 0% interest, would there be any financial benefit to paying it off early?
Good question. Good question.
Yeah. So
Yes.
if and so if there's no benefit to paying it off early if it was 0%, then why are we so focused on how fast we can pay off
So,
the end cost on the debt? Not just all right, 8%
Don.
the money you borrowed
Mm-hmm.
in interest. And so, in other words, if you have a $200,000 mortgage at 3%,
Mm-hmm.
the bank wants $103,000 in interest.
Well, how does that work? How is that?
Well, then
How is that even
we would,
legal? How is that
well, it's
even legal?
definitely legal.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So, what we take a look at that, we need to see what is really going on behind the scenes. Learning how to read an amortization schedule, you can actually make it work for you instead of against you.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to take out your math calculator? Are you going to show us something sexy with the numbers?
Well, listen, if you want to see some numbers, I'll be glad to put some numbers on the screen. Okay, anytime you want. So because it's a lot easier to see it
Yes.
than it is to explain it. What we need to do is figure out what the bank is doing, how they do it,
Mm-hmm.
what the weakness is in their system,
Mm-hmm.
and exploit the weakness in their system.
Okay. Okay.
And we go one step further by using um, AI, artificial intelligence, It's like our financial GPS, plugging in all of your numbers, and then the program will tell you how much money to move, what month to move it in, what day of the month to move it on, which loan to attack, so that you can maximize your interest savings per dollar. So if you can save, let's say, $6 in interest for every dollar you place on principal,
Mm-hmm.
you certainly wouldn't want to save just $3 in interest, would you?
Right.
So it matters how much you pay and when you pay to calculate how much interest you can save. And it is a moving target. It is so complex.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much math involved. When it comes to paying off your debt, there are about 3.6 million different ways to pay something off.
Are you
And
serious? That's a
I'm
lot of
serious.
ways. I would think
Well, if
there's
you
like three or four ways, maybe
oh
five.
no, no. If you have 10 so how many variables do you have? So when you start trying to pay off the debt, you start thinking about it in certain ways. So I have I've got this much money left over
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the month. So
Right.
where do I take this extra money? Do I put it on this credit card or do I put it on that credit card? Do I try to pay down three or four credit cards at one time? Or do I not put anything on the credit card and just focus on the car? You see, I just created four or five scenarios right there.
Right.
Okay. So now, which ones do I do first, second, third, fourth, or fifth? If I have five variables,
Mm-hmm.
there are 120 different ways to line up those five variables.
Okay.
It's called factorial math. So if I have 10 variables, and we've identified 10 variables at the pill method, that's 3.6 million different ways to look at your debt, and only one of them saves the most money.
Wow.
So people your audience is looking at this and said, I have been doing what the experts have been telling me for years, but my debt is barely moving.
Mm.
Okay. And it's barely moving because we're not doing what is optimal in paying down the debt. What we have adopted are heuristics or rules of thumb. So they say, well, do this one thing, or do this thing over here, do the debt snowball, or do the avalanche method, or round up your payments. Okay, take your tax return once a year and throw it at your debt. So those are all they all work. But here's one thing they don't do. They don't measure your outcomes. They don't measure how much interest you're saving when you make a move. Now, if you really want to manage your debt, find out how much interest you can eliminate and your debt just melts away. So instead of trying to guess what to do and when to do, how about using AI, using math to figure out what is the exact thing you and your family need to do to eliminate your debt? And I'm talking about all of your debt in an average of 7 to 9 years.
So for the person that is even considering getting into your program
Mhm.
or even thinking, because most of the time we think our ideas work.
Yeah,
And hey Don, I'm already taking, $100 a month and putting it towards an extra $100 a month, putting it towards my mortgage. Hey, I'm already saving. So
you
what
are.
what do you say to that person?
My question would be, how much interest did you just save by doing that? And the answer I get every single time is the answer you're thinking of. How much interest did they just save? You can tell me. You can say it. They don't know.
I don't know, Don.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't
So
know.
here we are looking at all of our money. And so they said, I gave the bank $100
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what they did with it. How did it help me? I
I
don't know.
oh,
And so the next thing I say, you know what? Give me $100. I won't tell you what I'm doing with it either.
that's a shame before God.
I'm telling you. But that's how we've been oriented.
Right.
We have been oriented to give the bank money and not. You see, when you go to the grocery store and you give them $100, you want to walk out with $100 worth of groceries.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you give the bank an extra $100, you want $100 worth of, you want to know how much interest did that $100 just save me?
Right. Right.
And when you don't know, you're not measuring. And when you can't optimize what you can't measure. If people knew how little money it took to save a ton of interest, it would blow their minds. It is crazy
Yeah.
how much interest can be eliminated, and how a person with a regular budget, okay, should be, they should take a look at their mortgage, their student loan,
Mm.
their credit cards, everything,
Mm-hmm.
and have the mindset, not that I'm going to have this debt forever. They can have the mindset that I can pay off all of this debt in 7 to 9 years. And not only that, I can live well while I'm doing it. You don't have to sacrifice lifestyle. You don't need more money to get out of debt, Dr. Nabia.
See,
You just need to pay less interest.
that is the question, because people are going to ask, well, do I need to get a second job? Do I need to get a third job? Well, I mean, I barely make enough now with what I'm getting. How is that person be able to navigate with their either their car payment, their mortgage, or their student loan? And I'm glad you
Hmm.
brought up student loans, because a lot of people have a lot of student loans and they're barely, they're in deferment for like ever.
Yes.
They're in deferment forever, and don't really realize how badly that's hurting them as well. And so,
We just need to understand how mortgages and other debt works, student loans. See, if we knew, it would be different.
yes.
We've never had a class on how the bank makes their money through interest. We've never had a class on amortization. We have no clue as to how it works. It just seems so, when we stop to think about it, it just seems so wrong that we're expected to use credit cards,
Mm-hmm.
car loans,
Yes.
um, mortgages,
Mm-hmm.
student loans,
Yeah.
all of these debt tools, but not have a single shred of education on how they work.
Right. And the average person, Don, doesn't even know that when you go to get, well, I'm going to say it correctly, give
Yeah.
a mortgage, give
Hmm.
a mortgage. You give a mortgage, and mortgage means death grip.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that. But when you
Hmm.
go to give a mortgage or get a student loan or get a car loan, the criteria that's used
Hmm.
for credit is not even the same. It's
No.
not even the same. And most people don't even know that. They think the same criteria they use for purchasing a house is the same criteria they use for getting a car. Some people don't even know that there's Experian Business.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think that there's only TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, and they have
Hmm.
no idea there's so many others. So you're right when you say we are just not educated.
We're not,
We're
and
not.
we could be.
We could be. Yeah.
We could be. And the Pill Method has a YouTube channel that is growing by the day.
Hmm.
And they can go to YouTube and search Pill Method. And I have over 1,600 videos on that channel that they can get for free that will teach them the basics of interest cancellation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's good, because that's free education right there.
Hmm.
That's free education. And I always called it YouTube University. That's what I call it. I mean, I've been calling it, and now I hear other people saying it. And I was like, well, I think I need to like copyright that. Well, it's too late now. Everybody says it. But no,
Hmm.
seriously, YouTube University, but on your channel, you see people coming in, they're asking real questions. They've got real
Yes.
issues with their mortgages, with their student loans, with their car loans, and you break out the big giant calculator and you say, "Okay, well, let's take a look at this."
Yeah, let's take a look at it because this is the first time I get this all the time. This is the first time people have actually seen how debt really works, and it gives them hope for the first time in their lives that I can get out of this thing
Hmm.
in less than 30 years. So we're the only company in the world that teaches this.
Yeah. So what is Dave Ramsey saying? What about his method?
Oh, Dave Ramsey doesn't like me.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey uses the debt snowball, and it helps a lot of people get out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
What it doesn't do, it doesn't tell them how much extra interest they're paying to do it.
Mm.
Okay?
So, so he uses a debt snowball, and
The debt snowball.
nobody is saying that that is not working. But
Well, the de-
you've already
well
said,
the dis-
go ahead.
go ahead.
So you have already said and established that there's more than one way.
Yeah. And but there's only one way to save the most interest.
I mean, I'm sorry. There's more than one way, obviously,
Hmm.
to
Yep.
get rid of debt. More than one
Yep.
way, but there's only one way that's the most effective.
That's the most effective, and you need something that can do millions of calculations to tell you what is the right thing to do for you. People ask me all the time, Don, what is I just got this question today on our YouTube channel. So I've got these three loans. Which one? Here's my interest rates. Which one should I focus on first?
Hmm.
Well, there are a lot of people that will give you some advice on that. Not here. The first thing I say is, I don't know. Let's run the numbers and find out which one is going to cost you the least.
Okay.
You have to do the math.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey will give you an answer. Susie Orman will give you an answer. I won't give you an answer until we do the math and you see the numbers for yourself. Once people see the numbers for themselves, it changes everything.
Yeah. Game changer. Game changer. So let me get back on camera. So, so one of the things that I've said, because I've always hated math. Well, I don't want to say
Hmm.
always, but for a long time, it's just like
Hmm.
my arch nemesis didn't like math, and so but you have to learn to love numbers because and being a realtor, licensed realtor, is that also changes everything because you're looking at numbers all the time and they have to make sense. And the one thing that I could say about numbers is they will not lie to you.
Right. Now, here is where we come in.
Hmm.
Since there's so many numbers, there's so many permutations that if I have a calculator that does all of my um, opportunity cost calculations and
Hmm.
says, based on all the numbers we've just did, and we look at them in just a couple of seconds, here is the one thing you can do that's going to save you the most amount of money.
Mm.
All you need to know about numbers here is the very basics so that you know that, yes, it is possible to use a little bit of money to kill a ton of interest.
Mm.
Now, that's when, for instance, basically, most people can look at a map and understand some of the basics, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But that does not mean that they can route out a way to get from here to there as easily and as efficiently as their GPS on their phone.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not going to take if I put the GPS on my if I put my destination to where I'm going in my GPS. I'm not pulling out my paper map along the way to check it.
Mm.
No, I'm not doing that. So once we graduate, so I just need to know that there are so many different ways to get somewhere. I could map this out myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I have the GPS doing it for me, I now trust the GPS because I have some basic idea of
Yeah.
what a map can do for me.
Right. That's the, yeah, that's a game changer. It makes
Hmm.
all the difference. Makes all the difference in the world, Don. So I'm not sure if you were even ready to bring out your calculator. Uh,
Well, I have it down there, and on your screen, you can just bring it up whenever you like.
okay, awesome. And so, Kanisha, I don't know if you have any questions. I know I saw you put a message up there, debt snowball versus the pill method.
I do have a video. I do have a video on that, and I can do something real quick about the debt snowball versus the pill method.
Okay,
If,
all
if
right.
you all would like to see that.
Oh, well, let's. Let's. All right, so I am going to let me see where I want to put your screen. I see your numbers over there. I'm going to assign. Let me see. Return to the no. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo you for now while I fool around over here in the background. But
Hmm.
because I want to get this on the screen all by itself. So and before we do that question, and just to make it plain for everyone,
Hmm.
you don't have to get a second job.
Nope, you don't.
You don't have to get a second job. And so and the person that is thinking to themselves, well then how am I going to find the extra money to do this?
And keep that, and we will cover that today.
Okay.
Where am I going to find that extra money? Okay. It's already in your budget. It's already there. What we do at the pill method is that we use a person's current budget, the same budget that qualified them for the 30-year loan
Hmm.
is the same budget we're going to use to get them out of debt in 7 to 9 years.
Wow. Wow. Well, all right. So I'm gonna try to squeeze over here and get your. I wish I knew this sooner.
Ah.
I wish I knew this sooner. Okay, so yeah, I think we can do that.
Mhm.
Going to. I'm gonna do that, and I'm going to bring you in over here. Okay,
Okay.
sign. Gonna do a guess too, and everybody just be patient. Ooh.
So what we're going to be able to show when it's ready,
When
we're
it,
going
go ahead.
when what we're going to be able to show is why the debt snowball um, is not efficient. It is very inefficient in paying off debt. It makes you feel good for doing something, but it once you understand, it's not about feeling good. It's not about um, knocking out um, the smallest debt up to the largest debt, because Dave Ramsey calls this a a behavioral problem,
Mm,
when in fact it's a math problem and has always been a math problem, because that's what the banks use. They use math to charge us all that interest.
mm. Wow.
Hmm.
Unassigned. I'm sorry, I had to unassign a placeholder.
Okay.
And I'm Don, can you hold on a second? Let me do this. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. This is unscripted. That's what happened. There's two Dons on the screen right now. All right, hold on a second. So I'm gonna have to take this one and pull it out. All right. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go to that's right. We have something here called preview mode. That means I
Yes.
can work in the background and y'all don't see nothing. So, so that's what I'm going to get ready to do. All right. So Don, you're solo. I'm going to let you kind of float there for a minute and
Okay.
talk to the people, and I'm going to be working my magic over here.
All right. Well, I tell you what. So anybody who wants to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free, you can actually find that out um, in the next couple of days. You can go to pillmethod.com and click on a button that says Get a Savings and Earnings Report. It's free. Just fill out the information there. And once it's all filled out with how much you owe, how many debts that you have, you put all of that in, your interest rates, how much you owe, your minimum payments, and a little bit of information about your income. Just follow, just follow the program and put everything in. The most important number is how much money is left over after all the bills are paid. That is the most important number. And when we say the how much money is left over, we mean money that would, most people try to put extra money on all of their debt every single month. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's called discretionary income.
Yeah.
Just let us know what the discretionary income is. So that's part of the money that's left over each month. Then we can tell you the month, day, and year you could be debt free. All right. So we have a couple of things on the screen. First of all, I'm going to take a look at a $200,000 mortgage at 6% interest. All right. And the payment on that is $1,199.10. But when we look at the information a person would get at closing, then you'll find out that what the bank wants in total interest is $231,676 interest on a $200,000 loan.
Mm-hmm.
So in total, they want 431,000. That looks like one house for you and one house for the bank, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how is this 231,000? How is this 6% of 200,000? It isn't. What it really is 115.838%. Now, math does that. And by going to my channel, you'll be able to see. We can get into that a lot deeper. How the math actually works, because I get into how the bank turns 6% into 115%. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the time that we have to work with, let's take a look at how much of that payment of 1199.10, how much of it pays down the debt, and how much the bank is charging to create equity. Equity is the difference between how much you owe
Mm-hmm.
and how much your house is worth. That's equity. And every time you make a payment, you are increasing your equity,
Yes.
how much the house is worth and how much you owe. So you're reducing how much you owe. The worth of a house is constantly ticking up. So you're creating equity every time you make a payment. But here, it costs $1,000 to get $199.10 worth of equity.
Mm-hmm.
They subtract that from what you owe, the 200,000, and you're left with this $199,800.90. They use this number now, because you owe less, to figure out how much interest you owe on line two. Now, because you owe less money, your interest cost actually goes down on line two, all the way down to $999.
Mm.
So, not very much at all. And that extra dollar goes over to principal. Now, a little more money goes to principal, a little less money goes to interest, but the payment stays the same, 1199.10. Okay? So, I've also have a car loan here. Here's a $40,000 loan at 9% for 72 months. Here is the payment. Now, according to debt snowball theory, I have a $200,000 loan here, okay,
Mm-hmm.
at 6%. I have a car loan here, 40,000 at 9%. And I said, well, the interest is actually greater over here, and the money that I owe is less. Why don't we completely focus on the car loan that wants us to take, 60, 5, 6 years to pay it off? Okay. Why can't we focus on that and pay it off in two? You know you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
focus on this and pay it off in two. So while you are fixated on this loan, okay, let me show you something here about this loan. Total interest paid on this one, oh, it's only $11,000. Okay, total interest paid as a percentage of principal is only 29.784.
And this is at 9%.
This is at 9%. And now look how much money is going to interest over here. And it just goes down from there. Okay. So when we focus on this car loan, we are focused on eliminating these interest payments. That's the whole idea. All right. So what Dave Ramsey says is that the $40,000 loan is less than the $200,000 loan. Why don't we focus there and get rid of it and feel good about it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. While I'm eliminating $300 payments and $200 payments and $290 payments, every month I'm working on the car loan to pay it off in 2 years. Guess what I'm doing on the mortgage? You know how much interest I'm going to pay in 2 years on this mortgage? $23,000 in 2 years, and I've only paid the loan down by $5,000.
Make it make sense.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make.
You can't make it make sense.
So he's saying focus here. So while we are focusing on the car only to feel good, I asked the question in my book, all right, which is a bestseller on Amazon.
Yes, it is.
The pill method is a better way to eliminate debt. I ask in my book, what do you want to pay? How much do you want to pay for your good feelings?
Wow.
Okay. It costs a lot of money to ignore the wrong loan and focus in on the wrong loan to pay back. You can really, really hurt yourself by doing the wrong thing. So let's focus here on this loan for now. Okay. Let's pretend, and I'm going to need your help, Dr. to be okay.
Okay.
All right. So if let's say I make my first payment here in January and $199.10 goes to principal, 1,000 goes to interest, I'm paid down to line two. I'm up to pay down to line one. On line two, my principal payment is $200, isn't it?
$200.10.
Okay. Now, if I start my loan in January, that $200.10 and the $999 would be due in February, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So, do I have to wait till February to give the bank this $200?
You do not.
If I had it, could I give it to them in January?
Yes, you could. Yeah.
And they've already subtracted the $199.10. That brings me here. Since they've already charged me interest, they can't charge me interest again. This $200.10 goes directly to principal. So I'm paid down to line two in January.
Yes, that is
My next mortgage payment then for February would be on what line of the schedule?
that would be on the third line of the schedule.
Exactly. So I drop down to line three immediately. So what I'm doing by prepaying is not just saving interest, I'm collapsing the amortization schedule. I just turned this into 359 monthly payments when I had 360 monthly payments. Now, because I gave the bank this money early and I no longer have line two, I immediately skipped to line three. What happened to this $999 on line two?
Whoops.
It goes away. It's canceled.
That's right.
So most people don't know that if I give the bank this $200 early,
Yes.
that I don't have to pay the $999 they wanted to charge me to pay my loan down by $200. So I get this equity for free.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Now, let's talk about, before we go any further, let's talk about this. I don't have a whole lot of money. So $200 would save me about $1,000 in interest, right? So that means if I cut this in half, $100 would save me about $500 in interest.
Yes. So we have,
So,
so we got a question.
yes.
So how does one navigate debt when they are living paycheck to paycheck and sometimes robbing Peter to pay Paul?
Well, most people I talk to are not living paycheck to pay their bills. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. One lady asked me that, and I asked her, I think, about three questions. Question number one: can you pay all of your bills with your income? Her answer was yes. Do you ever have to use a credit card to pay bills because you run short of money? The answer was no. Do
Mm-hmm.
you ever have to dip into your savings to help you to pay bills? The answer again was no.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave her a budget sheet. On the budget sheet, she was supposed to put in how much money she makes and then all of her bills,
Mm-hmm.
and then subtract and then tell me how much money is left over. It took her 2 or 3 days to get that back to me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Why did it take you so long?" She said, "I had to do it 3 times. I had to fill that thing out 3 times." I said, "Why did you have to do it 3 times?" She said, "Because it kept showing me I had $2,000 left over and I don't know where my money's going."
Wow.
Okay? To pay your bills, you're not living paycheck to paycheck. What causes paycheck to paycheck is the continued spending after the bills are paid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if we could track how much we're spending, then we would know how much money we have to work with. So why don't we do this instead? Why don't we track how much we're spending to pay bills and the money that we want to use for having some fun
Mm-hmm.
and making memories for the family?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we make that one of our bills and say, we're going to spend this much on our family this month and make it one of the bills? That way, you're not feeling as if I'm just working to pay bills. Part having fun is part of what we're doing. And now we can figure out how much is left over after all the bills are paid. And having fun is one of the bills. You see where this is going?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now I have some money left over. What do I do with the money that's left over? Okay. I can now prepay on some loans. So let me say that if I have $100 left over, I could put it on this mortgage and save $500 in interest. But what if I don't have $100 left over? I only have $50 left over. That means instead of $500 in interest saved, that's $250 in interest saved with 50 bucks. $25 would save me $125 in interest on this loan. I don't need a lot of money to save a lot of interest.
Yeah.
And it's the interest savings
Mm-hmm.
that gets us out of debt. I see another question.
Oh, well, that's Kanisha saying one thing I say is that I actually given homeowners both methods, as I have seen Don's method years ago on Clubhouse. It's over 10 years and running.
How about that? So, this is what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. We're helping people to understand how this thing actually works. Once you know how the bank makes their money, we can use leverage not to pay them all the interest that they're looking for. So, if we take a look at this and I make my payment in January, right? What if I found out what I just found out tonight? I could prepay this one, this one, and this one. That is $603.30. What
Mm.
if I prepaid $603.30? Do you know? I know people all the time that have some money in the bank, and the money in the bank is making 1/10 of 1%.
Yes, it is.
Okay, pennies. So what if I say to you, why don't you take $600 out of your bank? Let's put it on principal and save this interest payment you never have to pay, this interest payment you never have to pay, and this one. nearly $3,000 in interest you don't have to pay because you gave the bank $600 early, and you drop from payment number one to payment number five. Payment number one is now touching payment number five. You're collapsing that amortization schedule, and you're saving a ton of interest with just $600.
And that is how you make it make sense.
That's how you make it make sense. Now, here's the last thing I want to show. Okay. I'm looking at cumulative principal here. And by the way, I'm using a website called Brett Whistle, BRETWHISSEL. Brett Whistle, WHISSEL.net. Okay, this is his. This is not. I use it for so that we can use it for a teaching tool. Okay, this is not my program, but and the reason why I use it is because it gives us cumulative principal and cumulative interest. It easily adds up how much interest we're paying from month to month. So based on what we've just learned, if I look at 1 year into this loan, I pay this loan down by $2,456 and a penny. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Now, here's my question to everybody. Since I know I'm going to give this to the bank eventually, do I have to give it to them in 12 monthly installments?
No, sir.
If I had it, and I'm not saying you should, but if I had it, could I give this to the bank on line one?
Yes, you can. Yeah,
If I did, would I be paid down to line 12 in 1 month?
you would in 1 month.
What would happen to all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12?
Oh, they would never get it.
They would never get that. Now, here's what you really need to see. By doing it the bank's way, okay, they are slowly but surely taking money that is you're supposed to be using to build generational wealth with. Okay? They're taking that money. So when you take a look at this, they want to charge you $11,933.19. They want to overcharge you, okay,
Yeah.
to pay your loan down to here to get this much equity. Okay? If I give that to them when they're not expecting it, when they're not looking for it, when they really listen, yeah, don't pay us early, okay? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you give it to them early, then you're paid all the way down to here, not for $11,000, but for the $1,000 on line one. It only cost $1,000 to pay it down to here, not $11,999.19. I'm sorry, $11,933.19.
Mm-hmm.
That is a $10,944.42 savings that you never have to give to the bank to get to the same place. So I think that 10,000 or that $11,000 looks a lot better building wealth for your children's children,
Yeah.
don't you?
Oh, yes. The numbers do not lie, Don.
They do not lie. And this is what I see. You asked me in the beginning, what is it that got me going? I am not a math genius. No one taught this to me. It is a total gift from God that my brain is wired this way. So when I see this, I'm good at puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see this as a puzzle. And there's a lot more where this came from, Dr. Nabia. A lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, guys, whether I'm off screen, but you guys can hear me. Whether you are looking at a student loan, a mortgage, a credit card, automobile, whatever comes under the line of debt, it works. It works.
It definitely works. If you want to know what to do, just like following GPS, we plug everything in. The program says, and we don't put extra money on the debt every month, Nabia.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is the program says, take whatever money is left over and put it in savings. Build up that savings to a certain point, and then the program says, what is the least amount we can take out of that savings, apply it to the debt to maximize your interest savings per dollar. What? What do you mean by interest savings per dollar? Here's what I mean. If I were to put, um, let me see here. All right, can you guys see this calculator on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so if I
Let
could,
let me see if I could. You're gonna have to pull it up and make it bigger, if you want.
okay, okay. I don't. Is this big enough? The
It,
numbers big enough to see?
yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
see
good.
333s. Guys in the chat, let us know if you can see those numbers. Thank you.
Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Um, I want to say if I could prepay this number here and save a ton of interest and knock 1 year off this loan. Okay. What if I were to put that 11,000? Uh-oh. Okay, 11,933 and 19 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And divide it by prepaying the 245601. So we're going to divide it by uh-oh, I put the wrong number in. Sorry. I could hear people screaming at the screen already. Put the wrong number in. 11,000
I thought you were a
9
math genius.
33. There you go. Okay. It's live. This is live TV, folks.
This is what
Point
happens when you go live.
19. And we're going to divide it by the 245601. Divide it by 2,456 and a penny. Okay. Equals $4 and 4.858. And since this number is an 8, we round this up. $4.86 per dollar. So for every dollar you put on here, even an extra dollar makes it impossible for the bank to charge you $4.85 worth of interest.
Mm.
And that is valuable to know because an extra dollar on a $200,000 mortgage really doesn't make me feel real good at all. But if I know that dollar is saving me $4.86, oh my goodness, now my dollars become very, very important to me. Even the pennies. I pick up pennies in the parking lot. I don't know about you, but I pick them up.
Mm.
Okay. Because I know $4.85 here, okay, saves me a ton of interest. All right. So once you get used to the idea of interest cancellation, you don't need much money to cancel a ton of interest on this loan. And by doing it strategically, a few times during the year, not every month, but a few strategic times during the year after you save it up in your savings account. Okay. Because if I save it up in my savings account, what happens to my regular budget throughout the month? I'm not touching it. Every other program says out of your budget, how much do you want to take out of your budget to throw at the debt? $200 a month, $500 a month? What is it? And the first time you have an emergency, you're not putting any extra money on the debt that month. You feel like a failure and you stop. Okay. Instead of paying your bills, taking what's left over and putting it in the savings account. And when the program sees the right amount of money in your savings account, it's going to say, let's take the least amount of money out and place it on the debt so that we can know we're saving the maximum we can in interest per dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to, folks. Making each dollar work as hard as it possibly can. And it matters. And we need to make it matter. We need to focus in on it until it does matter. And you know why I know it does matter? Because I know people like grapes.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody going to ask me what does that mean?
We're going to take a commercial break and we're going to answer what that is. All right. All right. Yes, we getting ready for Passover. We love the feast of the Lord. So good, so good, so good. So why do people like grapes?
Well, listen, grapes are important because um, we pay attention to how much we spend for our grapes.
Mm.
If I like grapes, but if grapes are $9 a pound this week, am I buying grapes?
Oh, no.
No. Okay? No. Okay? So we need to pay just as much attention to what we're paying on our loans. So we want to pay the least amount of money we can in interest on our loans, because the longer we stay exposed to interest, the more money the banks take out of our wealth building.
Mm, 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 mm.
So we don't want to stay exposed to it. We want to make sure we're saving. What do we have next?
Okay, so you're saying save first a certain amount first, and then attack a bill with that savings to save interest.
Yes. And the reason why we do that is because of how much interest I can save per dollar. Because each time I put money on the debt, I can do the math to figure out how much I'm saving per dollar. If I only have so much money and I attack it too early, the amount of interest that I can save per dollar is less. If I wait and I'm having a little bit more money available, now the amount of interest I can save per dollar is more.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wait too long and I put more money on than I should, the amount of interest I can save per dollar starts to go back down again.
Yeah.
So it matters when you pay. So like we got $4.85 here, 86 cents here. If if I wait and put $7,000 on, that knocks off 3 years. Okay, it knocks off 3 years and saves this much interest, right? So let's do that. Instead of $4.86, let's do 35,000. Okay, 335 and 80 cents, and divide it by 7,831, 7,831 and 80 cents, and that equals for only $4.51. So the amount of interest that I'm paying that I'm saving per dollar actually goes down, not up. So I want to be careful not to put too much money on at the wrong time. And this is the kind of math I was talking about. You see, there's more to this thing that meets the eye. I want the least amount of money I have available to put on the debt that's going to save me the most amount of interest per dollar. And I don't want to put too little. I don't want to put too much. I want to put the right amount after the math has been done. And who's going to do all of that math? Certainly not me,
Mm-hmm.
but an AI system that is specifically engineered to beat the bank at their own game.
Mm-hmm. She said, "What about putting your money in a HYSA, high yielding savings account, to pay
Mhm.
bills so that you can earn interest?"
Well, the amount of interest that you can save in that is going to be minimal. So, and if I'm going to put it anywhere, putting it in a high yield savings isn't going to hurt, but it's not going to help you that much. And here's why. Okay. Let's do a little math and let's look at this. I've got $200 here that I can prepay to save $9.99, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is how ROI is figured out. Okay. Return on investment.
Investment. Yep.
Return on investment. So if I prepay this, I save $999. Now, if I take a look at return on investment or I look at profit, there are a couple of ways to create profit. You can increase your profit prices, that should increase profit, or you can also lower your expenses, right? Won't that increase profits as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so if I can pay $999 less interest to acquire the same property, that is pretty good. I can look at that as profit. So, so here's what we're doing. You take your 999, you divide, you subtract how much you are investing, $200.10 minus $200.10 equals 798.90, and now you divide that by the same $200.10. Uh-oh. $200.10, yep, 10 cents. And then once you divide it, then you multiply the answer by 100. So that equals this, and now you multiply it by 100, and that's how you figure ROI. Your return on investment is 399%. How long would you have to keep money in the bank to make 399% on your money?
Mm.
So the amount of interest you could save in a high yield savings is better than keeping it in a low yield savings, but that's not going to be my focus. My focus is what is my potential for ROI by placing the right amount of money on principal to kill a ton of interest to get a 400% return on my money.
Mhm.
I love it. What about you?
Uh, If you love it, I like it. So we're gonna have to have him back. I did want you to say a quick word about people that get caught up in the percentage. I was gonna say something about the buy down, but we don't have time for that. The
Yeah.
percentage we're looking at, well, the rate at this time is 6%, or if I can get it at 4%, like
Okay.
does it does
Let's
it
take
does it even matter?
it does matter. It matters a lot. Okay. So right now, the average um, home in the U.S. is about $400,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the interest rate is right around 6.5 or more. Okay, and this is what you're looking at. Now, if you can afford the payment, I would say take this loan. If there was a builder that says, you know what, we'll buy that down for you. We'll buy the loan. We'll buy it down for you. We'll buy your rate down, and we're going to give you the same loan at 4.5. Okay, just buy your house from us. Okay, and I have a person that's in this situation right now. So they're looking at the 4.5. Look at this payment is 2026
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to
What was it before
uh
25 something?
yeah,
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 25
25,
28.
28,
Yeah.
25, 28. Now it's 2026 at 4.5. So let's just say that the builder paid, $12,000, 12 to $15,000 to get you this rate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, you know what? Give me the higher rate. Okay? Give me the higher rate. And at 6.5. Now I don't have, and I said, take that 12,000 and you put it towards my closing costs instead. Okay? So that's $12,000, right? That I didn't have to pay out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I still have my 12 grand. I've got the 6.5%. Now I want you to take a look at the principal payment at 6.5. So if I prepay this, I don't have to pay this interest.
Mm-hmm.
Watch what happens when I lower the interest rate to 4.5. Look at this. Now I got to come up with $528 to get rid of one line of interest instead of $363. This is at the higher interest rate now. When I lower the interest rate, my money doesn't work as hard for me. I got to come up with more money to get rid of one line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At the higher interest rate, $4,400 gets rid of 12 months. At the lower interest rate, it takes $6,400 to get rid of 12 months. And the people who own the bank know that.
Yes.
Just not the people that work in the bank. They don't know that.
Mm-mm.
Everybody's trying to get the lower interest rates. And know this, folks, control the principal payment and you control the loan. Interest payments you skip don't matter. So I want to take this, I'm going to take this loan here. I'm going to take the 400,000 at 6.5. I'm going to take the higher interest rate over the lower interest rate if I can afford the payment. Okay. Once I can afford the payment, I still have let me get rid of this ad. I still have my $12,000, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Well, instead of using my $12,000 for closing costs, because I had the builder pay my closing costs, I still have my 12 grand. Could I put my $12,000 on principal with my first payment?
You can. You certainly can.
Watch what happens when I go down to $12,000. In the first month, I knock off over about 2.5 years down to here, and that $12,000 saves me how much interest?
Wow. That's
66.
$66,206, and they want their 35 cents, but
Come on now.
they're not getting it.
They're not getting it. Okay. They're not getting it. So give me the higher interest rates over the lower interest rates. I can save more money. I can get my equity faster. I can get it cheaper, and I can pay the loan off earlier at a higher interest rate than I can at a lower one.
And this is what the banks do not want us to know.
They do not.
Because when you, I mean, there's a myriad of ways of adding equity into a house, but when you're doing it like this, it's smarter and it's faster. It saves you a
Yes.
lot more money.
Yes.
And that's the thing. So hold on a second before I forget. Adrienne had a question. I think she was confirming. So
Mhm.
attack consumer debt first, then mortgage.
No, what you do is figure out
Mm-hmm.
what is going to save you the most amount of money
Mm-hmm.
in interest, and then focus on a strategy, because we like something simple. We like do consumer debt first and then this, or do this first and then that, instead of what is how should I attack this debt that's going to save me the most amount of interest? And we may need to go completely against convention and what we've been told.
Yeah.
Okay. So that I don't know. So it is all different for every single person. That's why I say, instead of getting a rule of thumb or a heuristic and saying do this instead of that for everybody, like Dave Ramsey, why don't we get a savings and earnings report? Go to the pill method and get that. And then we help you to develop a strategy that is for you and your family alone in figuring out how to pay the least amount of interest possible. That is the key to getting out of debt. And I can't tell you by just saying, do this instead of that, and it's going to save you more money. I can tell you that it will save you some money, but do you want to save them some money, or do you want to save the most amount of money that is mathematically possible for you and your family?
Yes.
That takes a lot of math and a lot of strategy, and we provide it.
That's right, Wendy. So listen, guys, there's a lot to this. There's a lot, and some of the things that, and this is a very small of what you can learn concerning this, because we talk about, I want to lay up an inheritance for my children's children. I want to understand generational wealth, and I want to do it, but sometimes we don't have the tools that we need. And working with Don, he makes it streamless. And I like the fact, Don, that you don't do the whole cookie cutter method, and this is what you do for everybody. At,
No,
because everybody's financials are different.
exactly.
They're all different.
Exactly. And so that's why you won't get an answer from me that says do this or that. We have to do the math because you said earlier in the show, people lie, but numbers don't lie.
No, numbers do not lie. Um, I think that when we get more educated, because that's the key, when we get more educated, then we can better navigate through whatever it is that we're going through, rather, especially financially, because a
Yes.
lot of people are so stressed out for the finance.
Mm.
And sometimes in their mind they make it bigger than what it really is, and they don't
All
even
the
know
time.
that it's that big. It's not that big. All you
It's
need
not
to
that
do
big.
is do this. It's the small movements. It's the small movements. And so we just have to make a mental assent and make a commitment to do better, because we say things like that, well, when you know better you do better, but you have to put yourself in a position to know better,
Right. Let
and
us
not
help
just
you.
stay boxed. Don't stay boxed.
Right. Let us help you. So get out of that mindset that you know what, I can do this myself. I can do it for free. I can. But the bottom line is you're going to pay way more interest than you need to trying to do it on your own.
Hmm.
Let us help you. Let the interest savings pay for your lifetime program. And you can continue to save and continue to earn and take advantage of all of the services that we provide. I'm telling you, you're way better off with us than without us. Take that interest savings, the money that you are going to pay the bank, take a small piece of that and invest it in your growing your financial future.
Yeah.
It's the bank's money they're not getting.
Yeah, that's the whole picture, because if you're able to jump from line 1 to line 3, or line 1
Yeah,
to line 5, or
yeah.
even if you jump to line 2, it's something and it
It's
matters.
something.
Those interest rates are horrendous. And I don't under I don't want us to go into, I don't understand. But the problem is that you think that you're buying one house when you're actually buying two, or a house and a half. And the
Okay.
bank always gets their part first. They
They
always
get their part
they get
first.
it first, always get there first. And okay, great. You paid for that first house. Now you can continue to pay for your own.
You know, now that you say that, if people do that, take a look at their own amortization schedule, whether they get it from their papers or they do one on their own from Brett Whistle,
Hmm.
you'll find out to pay off half your loan, it takes about 20 years to pay off the first half. They get all of their interest up front.
Hmm.
That's why it takes 20 years to pay off the first half. You pay off the last half of your loan in the last 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You can pay off half your loan in 10 years, but it takes 20 years to pay off the first half. Why? Because of all the front loaded interest.
Yeah.
They are making a killing
Right.
and they don't have to.
Right.
Uh, We can cut our interest costs by 2/3.
That's a lot.
I'm telling you, especially when listen these days, you'll take that 25-cent coupon and get that can of beans,
Mhm.
get those black beans,
Get them black beans,
that
y'all. Get them black beans.
get, to, get
The no
that
frills
25.
one. The no frills one.
Yes, the 25 cents at Aldi's. Okay,
At all these.
get that 25 cents off.
That's
That's what I'm talking about. We will do that,
mm-hmm.
but we will not cut the bank out of uh, 75% of that interest that they're overcharging us by. 75%.
But
Too
this is
much.
and this is what I was going to say to you earlier.
Yeah.
While the unsuspecting home buyer, happy they're getting a house, don't
Hmm.
know that they don't real number one, they don't realize they're buying two homes,
Yes.
and it's a bit of misdirection.
Yes.
It's
A
misdirection,
big time
because
misdirection.
they have you focused on this thing right here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to look at what they don't want you to look at.
Yep.
And again, guys, listen, if you know better, you do better. Please go over to his YouTube page, The Pill Method.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I want to say, Dr. Don Daniel.
I'll take. Listen, I appreciate the promotion.
Well, because and the reason why I say that is because I know what it is to get a doctorate and all that you
Yes.
have to go through and the amount of learning and the amount of research and even because you have and it is a gift that the Lord has given you to be
Yes.
able to unlock patterns. First you see them and because you see them, and I say this about spiritual mapping, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And when your eyes are open to truth and you see how long you have been bamboozled, your friends, your family members, then you just want to stand on the mountain and run and tell that.
That's right.
So I'm going to admonish all of you to please get your free savings and earnings report. Or you want to say earnings and savings, savings and earnings. It's
Yes.
free either way.
Yes. Go to pillmethod.com and you'll see it. Fill it out, and my staff will get a hold of it. They'll call you back to confirm the information. Once the information is confirmed, they will give you your results right over the phone. And if you like your results, they'll mail it out and say how you can now set up a consultation. Uh, So all of that comes from just taking action and making up in your mind, I'm not going to give my children's money away to the bank.
No more.
No more.
Are we doing thepillmethod.com or just pill method? I thought it was the.
I own both of them. Either one.
I can't. All right. I can't with you. I'm trying to put it up on the screen, sir. Um, you got me doing it in different colors.
That's right. So it doesn't really matter. Pillmethod.com or thepillmethod.com. Either one works.
I highlighted the
Okay.
thepillmethod.com. All right.
Okay. Yes.
The pill method, not to be confused with the snowball method.
There you go. Definitely.
Um,
Definitely not the snowball or the avalanche method. The
no,
pill method is one of a kind.
and this is a better way for debt cancellation, debt elimination. All right, please share this video out. I know we went a little long, but you know what? We were in school tonight, so it's all right. It's all right. All right, so Don, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. I'm going to throw my little commercial back up. I want to see you guys April 2nd on Zoom. The links are in there for the Passover 2026. It is a new month, it is a new year, regardless of what they say in Western society. I am Dr. Navi about you, here to bring you intimate truth. It's the truth that you embrace that makes you free. All right. Shalom, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Navia.
My pleasure. Shalom. Thank you.